Chapter 1, Section 6, The Impact of Microorganisms on Human Society. Unfortunately, microbes, bacteria have gotten a bum rap, okay? I say bacteria to most people. Oh my God, they have the sudden urge to wash their hands. Oh my God, things are dirty. Oh no. Because we're focused on the fact that, we've been raised thinking that microbes mean disease. Microbes bad. When in actuality, it's only a very small part of a percentage of the microbes actually can cause disease. The majority of them we need. We need them in food. We need them for agriculture. We're starting to learn to harness them to come up with certain products for us humans, getting the microbes to express different proteins, yeast expression systems, things like that. We're looking at microbes for environmental cleanup. Have an oil spill, instead of going in there with detergents and high pressure, high temperature water to try to steam things off of rocks and whatnot, spray microbes, spray bacteria that will eat the crude oil. Now, yeah, okay, looking at microbes as disease, causing disease, that's fun, okay? Who doesn't love sitting there reading about, necrotizing fasciitis, watching somebody's limbs rot off, turn black and rot off within 24 hours? Yeah, cool. Nowadays, we're a little burnt out with virus infections, talking COVID and whatnot. But yeah, we will spend time discussing that within the semester. But most of these microbes we actually do need. Okay? They help us with, honestly, with some of them with coming up with ways to treat or keep out or keep away certain diseases, with vaccinations, water and wastewater treatments based on microbes, breaking down certain sewage components. We're also looking more at, pasteurization. Due to the study of Pasteur, we now know certain food safety means for food safety so that we can keep from getting sick, keep from, having, masses of people get sick or die because of spoiled food. And it's interesting, it's been ingrained in our minds, death by disease. You go back a little over a century ago, 1900s. Look at the leading causes of death. The leading causes of death were infectious diseases, influenza, pneumonia, kind of remnant of what's going on now. Tuberculosis, TB, was a major killer. Gastroenteritis, that means you have some form of, basically diarrhea that's killing you. Infant diseases, a lot of infants died due to just infections. Remember, infants really have a rudimentary immune system. It hasn't built up yet. So anything they get exposed to, they run the risk of dying from. Diphtheria was one of these, that just seemed to knock everybody around. Fast forward a century, the advent of antibiotics and antimicrobial treatments. Influenza has gone from being, almost 200 per 100,000 people? So 200, that means, what? Somebody will have to do my math for me. 1 in 500 died of influenza. And now look at the numbers. The numbers are way, way down. They're, 10%, 30% of what they used to be. Now it's, heart disease is now the #1 killer. Cancers, which, were way down the list. These are the ones that are now taking over. We're now looking at microbes to help us in many aspects of our life. You look at agriculture. Instead of spraying, spraying, nutrients, different types of fertilizer and things like that, spraying phosphate, spraying nitrogen containing stuff onto the soil to try to replenish what the last crop took. And a lot of that then being rinsed away in the first rain and going off draining into nearby streams and lakes. Well, now we're looking at spraying bacteria, repopulating the soil, overpopulating the soil with nitrogen-fixing bacteria. Take gaseous nitrogen, fix it into an organic compound or an inorganic compound that will then be excreted out into the soil, available for plants. We know that ruminated animals, goats, cattle, yes, they eat a lot of hay, yes, they eat a lot of grass, they eat a lot of plants, but they don't break it down. It's the microbes in their gastrointestinal tract that do that for them. You look at us, a lot of what we take in, a lot of those complex carbohydrates, we just don't have enzymes for. The bacteria in your gastrointestinal tract, the bacteria in your large intestine, they have the abilities. They excrete the enzymes that break down those complex carbs into simple carbs, simple sugars. They take some, we take the lion's share. We also see that they, make certain vitamins and other nutrients. They overproduce, excrete it out into their environment, which we then absorb through our gastrointestinal tract. This figure here from the textbook, figure 114. Some of those nitrogen-fixing bacteria that are in the soil don't just stay loose in the soil, they will adhere to nearby plant roots. You see these nodules. That's plant tissue that's grown up and around colonies of bacteria. So those bacteria are kept close to the root so that any of these nitrogen compounds that they make get excreted directly into contact with the root system of the plant. Drawn up, gets used. They get eaten. Cow defecates, breaks down. Cow dies, breaks down. Plants die, break down. Help the soil. Help bring back some of that carbon, some of that nitrogen, phosphates back to the soil, which helps the next generation of plants, which helps the next generation of bacteria associated with the plants. And then you look at us. The majority of the microbes you're going to have in your body are going to be in the large intestine. Contrary to popular belief, your stomach actually does have bacteria growing in it. These are going to be bacteria that, can handle, are resistant to the extremely low pH. You have microbes in your small intestine. You have the majority of them, like I said, in your large intestine. And you see here this isolate from. There are lots of different bacteria. You do not want a monoculture. You do not want to have one type of bacteria overgrowing everybody else. That's why they say when you take antibiotics, sometimes the doctor and the nurse will sit there and tell you, eat some yogurt. You want to get some of the good bacteria in so you don't have the bad ones, a pathogen overgrowing and then causing you to have extreme diarrhea. Now, yeah, some of the microbes, while they're not directly hurting us, they're not directly pathogenic to us, they do work against us. They are what causes food spoilage. Okay? Food spoilage is microbes, the bacteria, the fungi, growing in or on the surface of what we would think of as food. They're excreting enzymes into their environment, which causes the breakdown of our food, hence spoilage. But on the flip side, over the hundreds, if not thousands of years of human civilization, the development of our civilization, we have also come up with ways to use microbes in food preservation, dairy products, cheese, yogurt, buttermilk. This is where we actually bring in what we would consider good microbes, good bacteria to cause the proteins to coagulate in dairy, the retinine from certain bacteria causing, or we take it from other places, causes the cheese, the yogurt, things to curdle. That curdling, high salt, do things to it, bring the good bacteria in, and that curdled stuff hardens up a bit. We think of it and firms up. We call that cheese. Or we can put stuff, certain vegetables in a high salt place, salt them, put them in a nice airless crock, and let them sit for a while. They ferment. Lactobacillus and other bacteria that likes that high salt. Most microbes don't, but lactobacillus is one we like because, hey, it gives us sauerkraut, gives us pickles. I mean, hey, bread, alcohol. Who doesn't love some bread? Who doesn't love a beer? Those of you over 21. Thank our friend yeast. Many things we use microbes to generate, whether it's lactic acid, acetic acid, propionic acid, or just straight up ethanol. Different microbes can produce different things. We're starting to see more industrial applications for microbes. Yes, the brewing, here in St. Louis, Anheuser-Busch, with Budweiser and all of them, they use yeast for brewing, making beer. You have all these microbreweries. But we're also looking at pharmaceuticals. Some of the enzymes, some of the compounds are just, we can't, we could probably do it in a test tube, but it would be, really hard, very time consuming, lots and lots of mistakes. We just can't match Mother Nature. So, hey, we just take the genes for the enzymes that have it done and just put them in a yeast cell, put them in a bacteria, let Mother Nature make it. Can't match Mother Nature for just how efficient things can get. We're looking at bioengineering microbes. You have certain metabolic deficiencies. Okay, we could try to insert genes. Doesn't always work. Well, guess what? We can colonize your gastrointestinal tract, where that they're working on, colonizing your gastrointestinal microbes that will make whatever metabolite you seem to be fishing in. You'll just absorb it in through your gastrointestinal tract, into your bloodstream, gets dispersed throughout your body, taken up by cells. Good to go. Or we can use microbes to, clean, to do other things that we just never would have thought of. We're already looking at microbes as means for making biofuels, methane, ethanol, from cellulose byproducts, from all sorts of different manufacturing, paper mills, textiles, things like that. We use microbes for wastewater treatment, breaking down, the sewage that comes from your house. Well, guess what? There's a lot of solids there. We use microbes, break it down, because it's easier and cleaner than trying to use chemicals to break things down. We're looking at microbes for bioremediation, cleanups. If there's a spill, why go in there with harsh detergents and things like that, which are going to basically sterilize the soil, sterilize the area, which means not only are no microbes going, no plants are going to grow, no animals are going to be able to live. Spray some microbes. It may take a while longer, but it'll be environmentally friendlier.